We just got done with the Over the Limit pay-per-view, and we're already back for Monday Night Raw. It's the first pay-per-view after the Over the Limit pay-per-view, and there have been some awesome matches there. We have Kofi Kingston still being our champion, the split of Jericho being the main thing, where it just imploded at the final segments of the WWE Championship match. Motor City Machine Guns are still your tag team champions. I might just change their name to the Motor City Machine Guns at this point. I keep messing up their name. Beth Phoenix has announced that at Night of Champions, the pay-per-view that's next, she's going to get her Divas title back. All kinds of different fallout happening from the show, and we're going to have to start it here on Monday Night Raw. Let's just jump right into it. Alright, so we have a couple Dark Show matches for Raw, one of which being it's Adrian Neville, or Pac, defeating Tyrone Evans, better known as Michael Tarver, with Pac getting the win in 7 minutes with a shooting star press, 35, and he's improving in performance, so good things to see from, Adrian Neville, the future Adrian Neville, once I figure out how to change names. And then we have another match, a really good one at that. I really expected it. It's the pre-show. It's Pride and Honor. Jay Lethal, Richie Steamboat taking on a new team, the Saviors of Perfection, in 9 minutes 15 seconds. When Jay Lethal defeats Curtis Axel with the super kick lethal injection combo. And Damian and Curtis showing really good performance, and they have really great chemistry, excellent chemistry even. With Curtis getting a 66 and Damian getting a 50. Jay Lethal improves in Rumble skills, so that's always good. But yeah, no, two pretty good teams that I kind of want to push in the future, getting a shot. It's always good to see. Let's move on. So the Raw after Over the Limit opens up with Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Glass Shatter's Raw Sheriff, marching out, and he declares that Raw will not be overshadowed by the chaos that is SmackDown. The whole John Cena situation, beating it over the head. Raw's not going to take a backseat to that anymore. And with Night of Champions on the distant horizon, the next pay-per-view, obviously, he calls out the WWE Champion for a special announcement. While Kofi does come out, CM Punk does as well, saying his victory last night should secure him a title shot. He beat Randy Orton, he should get that title match. Miz comes out and says Destiny has arrived and he should get the match, especially since he was the one that helped CM Punk beat Randy Orton. So essentially, Miz beat Randy Orton, not CM Punk. Then all of a sudden the lights go out and Bray Wyatt comes out. And he says it's time to make the world a cleaner place. He may have lost his United States Championship to Yujiro Takahashi, but with that, he's moving on to better things, starting with the WWE Championship. The four men begin to argue when Kofi says he doesn't care who he faces. Raw's GM says that the announcement he was going to make was the return of a match, the return of the Championship Scramble match, with CM Punk getting an automatic spot in the 5-way due to the win last night. Other people will be able to secure a spot in the coming weeks. Oh, hell yeah. So, there's, Kofi Kingston, CM Punk already in the Scramble matches, 3 other spots lined up. We're going to have some matches tonight on Raw to see who it will be. And, just kind of picking up the storyline, a new main event storyline coming forth. Next, we have a rematch, a great rematch between Ingame and the Motor City Machines for the Tag Team Champions. And unfortunately, for the 3rd time in a row, the Ingame could not put them away. Sabin defeats Kevin Steen with the Made in Detroit. Motor City Machines make defense number 2 of their World Tag Team titles. Good chemistry from both teams, 90s all around. Really good, just proving how good the tag team division is with a great match on Raw. Always like to see it. And next we have a little, bringing the fans down back with that. It's AJ Lee making the defense. She did not make a defense at the pay-per-view. So another title defense on Raw is AJ Lee taking on Nikki Bella of the Photoshop. We have a Shining Wizard. During the match, we see the other members of the Photoshop, AJ Lee and cheerleader Melissa, attack AJ Lee, but she powers through it, making a 3rd defense of her Divas title. But after the match, unfortunately, Beth Phoenix runs down and AJ is beaten down by Beth. She just destroys AJ Lee. She's getting that title match at Night of Champions, and she's sending a message to AJ that she's not to be taken lightly. Clearly, Glamazon Beth Phoenix has been sick and tired of all the old comments that people keep throwing her, so she's out to prove herself. And there's nothing more scarier than a person trying to prove that they still have some energy left in the tank there. Next we have a segment, a little video for 1 minute. This is the minor thing angles I was talking about, but regardless, we see Evan Bourne taking on Seth Rollins and Doug Williams in a spot for the championship scramble match. So one of these three young competitors, well, Doug's not really that young, but you get the point. These new competitors, these new faces of Raw, of the WWE, will be involved in a championship match, and you gotta think of how that can work out in your career. Evan Bourne, Seth Rollins, Doug Williams, who's gonna get that shot? And that match is next. And it's Evan Bourne. Evan Bourne defeats Seth Rollins and Doug Williams, essentially because Seth Rollins and Douglas Williams keep fighting themselves. They're too focused on beating each other, because of that whole blood feud from England's Finest in the Shield allows Evan Bourne to hit the corkscrew moonsault on two downed men, and he secures himself a position in a championship match for the WWE Championship. That was a little redundant, I know. I'm just focused on the fact that Seth Rollins got a 72. My God, and he's still improving on stuff. Doug Williams with a 68. Doug Williams is a pretty good mid-card guy, and Seth's just really picking up. This was in singles action, so he doesn't get any chemistry effects or bonuses. It just shows how awesome that, Tyler Black was at the time. So, Evan Bourne, he's good, but he's not good enough to beat Evan Bourne, unfortunately, who gets that championship match. Next, we cut from the crowd and we see Kofi Kingston and The Miz backstage, arguing with the recent revelation of Evan Bourne making the scramble match with Miz, saying, Evan Bourne, he doesn't deserve to be in the WWE, let alone a title match. It's a disgrace to someone that, as boring as him, just gets to stink up the scene, while I have to wait my turn to even find out who my opponent is to get in the match. It's my destiny to become WWE champion. You're just a placeholder, a candlelight in the shadow of the dynasty I will build. With Kofi saying, Miz, I'd love to kick your head clean off your shoulders anytime, but Evan Bourne has more entertainment value in his toe than you have in your whole body. He earned his way into this match, and so will you. So why don't you make it your destiny to get out of my face, or you won't get a chance at my title. And The Miz slinks away, as you do. Just goes to show, The Miz is getting, a little cocky in his match, assuming he's just going to be in the scramble match. And Kofi showing him what for. Good to see that the rating did as good. And next we have Chris Jericho comes to the ring, and he's talking about the Big Show. Clearly the elephant in the room from last night in the WWE title match. Chris Jericho had offered Big Show to pin Kofi Kingston, but Big Show chokeslams Chris Jericho and tried to pin him. For what reasons, we don't know. But Chris Jericho pretty much comes out and says, I was the building block of Jericho. I was the reason Jericho succeeded. Big Show just runs around hitting things, acting like an ass, where I have the actual technical acumen to make the team succeed. I was willing to give the title to Big Show. I've had lots of championship reigns. I want to do something good for once in the career, and I get rewarded just by the betrayal. And it's just kind of sad. Chris Jericho makes the point of saying that he wants to make sure that the Big Show knows that, this whole thing is not going to be easy forgotten. Chris Jericho, he is a Walking Dead character in the game. Chris Jericho will remember that. And, he pretty much cuts a babyface promo. I'm trying to think of babyface things for him to say, but he's Chris Jericho, so, he's awesome. He's turned a babyface, essentially, and we'll handle that change. Hopefully it works good. Damn it, how many, what's it called? I don't know how to work around this. Let's see. The turn particularly didn't go well. I haven't had that many turns in like a month, so, I don't know how to work with that. We will just pay him off if it doesn't, work out. And we do have a match, and this is one of those various championship scramble match contenderships. It's Chris Jericho and Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett's able to hit the wasteland following the knockout punch from the Big Show. The Big Show runs out, hits Chris Jericho, takes Chris Jericho out of the match, and Wade Barrett's able to capitalize, pinning the best in the world. You know, sadly, I don't know what changes would I have to... Oh, complete a gimmick change. Let's see. Big Show switched to the muscle gimmick. The gimmick has gotten very good. That's good, because his gimmick was getting stale. Wade Barrett getting a win, and Wade Barrett now is in the championship scramble match. So we know now there's only one really spot left. We know it's Wade Barrett, Evan Bourne, CM Punk, Kofi Kingston for the WWE title. Let's go now. And we have The Shield and England's finest, sans Wade Barrett, who's just, obviously in the ring. They're attacking each other. Dean and Roman isolating Magnus, who, pretty big guy. You don't want to try and get him by himself. And Seth going after Doug Williams, of course. Douglas Williams, but, just call him Doug. Seth and Williams are so focused on the camera that they bump into a party. It's Yujiro Takahashi's United States party. The two brawl. It's a party celebrating the fact that Yujiro has got his nice, shiny WWE Championship right there, as you can see. They're fighting, they take food, they're going at each other. It's a classic W brawl. But then probably like Williams is super kicked, and he spills punch over one of Tanahashi's bunnies. Taka's eyes go wide as he goes into another place. He picks up his title, his championship, and just blasts Rollins and Williams across the face, staying over the two with a glazed over look, and then he just goes right back to partying as if nothing happened. So funny little segment with just Yujiro just beating the crap out of Williams and Seth Rollins. So there you go. Next we have another kind of little oversight match. We see it's going to be Kingston and Punk versus Wyatt and The Miz. A tag team match due to The Miz and Kingston arguing. We're getting a tag team match coming out. And let's see how that goes. No, we have pre-booking. In 86B, probably just because of the whole kind of, let me see, was it the jobs of odd heel face combination? I figured that would be. But Kofi Kingston and CM Punk defeated Wade Barrett and The Miz, when Kofi Kingston defeats The Miz with the SOS. So we end Raw like that, which is good. Hold on, my mouth is just dry. Good match overall, though. Bray Wyatt is the only one, but he didn't break a 90, but broke an 88. Miz, 92. Kofi with a 95. CM Punk with a 97. Good overall matches that we can see here, and we're going to cut to the last segment. And we end the show with the championship match participants coming out. It's Kofi, Evan Bourne, Wade Barrett, and CM Punk all looking at each other. Who's going to be the final participant, but one of the, that's the thing about the championship scramble match I actually like, is that, Evan Bourne has a shot at winning, an easy shot. He's just got to make sure to get pinned after that bell. Or not get pinned, pin. Wade Barrett has a shot. Wade Barrett has a chance to win the WWE title. CM Punk can win his title back, and it's going to be an uphill battle for the champion. So I have to see how long that it could come out, and that's how we're going to end Raw. Let's see how our rating was. In a 92A, pretty good Raw overall. Pretty good setting up the championship scramble match. I'm happy with the booking. Had some funny-ass moments that I like to book. But yeah, that's the end of this Raw. I will see you guys for SmackDown and Superstars.